I'm not happy with this transfer at all. And I'm sure we'll get into this, but
why can't I say I'm not surprised?
Well, listen, mate. You know what? I look at it. Johnny just mentioned someone like Brennan Johnson, who I've backed all season and will continue to back. I think there's some growth in him. I think there's a ceiling there. The first signing of the season, £165,000 a week. I think that works out in being the third highest earner, and he's not a guaranteed starter. I also think, looking at it, I didn't want Callum Hudson-Odoi, but if someone gave me the choice, you have this or this. We had this chat yesterday, Ben, when we spoke. I would have taken Callum Hudson-Odoi based on the fact that A, he would have been a homegrown, B, he would have been younger, C, he actually scores goals. And then we could have had another foreign place. But then, as you were saying, mate, and the one out of all the things after like having the night after the day before, I could say when we spoke and you said, you know what, maybe this is a loan deal just because we need someone for 1 year because Mikey Moore might be that person promoted. That's the only glimmer of hope I have from this deal, that might be the way it's done. I look at it now, and I was on a few streams yesterday, and one comment actually said to me, or not to me, in the chat, said, I think it's a great addition because, let's face it, he's better than Brian Hill. And I was like, is that the standard that Tottenham Hotspur are at now? That's how we value players now.
But Brian,
he comes in.
Brian,
Yeah.
once everything's all said and done in the transfer window, and let's say for argument's sake, Timo Werner isn't one of the first options for the starting lineup, and he is just the squad option, and he is the worst kind of attacker that we do have at the lowest kind of point. Is that not something positive to go into next season, and doesn't that represent an upgrade on last season?
If that happens, if we sign, let's just say, for instance, for me, let's just say we get an Eze, and I'm just chucking names here that we've been linked to, an Eze, a Morgan's Gift White, a left centre back, whoever that may be, and a striker to go up alongside Richie or overtake Richie, then I'll do what I did in January. I'll come here and say, do you know what? Got it completely wrong. This is we did this first. I've been proven wrong, and I'll gladly say it. But I went on the stream today, and I started thinking about it. You look at Spurs history, and I'll go back as far as my dad, who watched Martin Peters, Jimmy Greaves, and Alan Gilzine. You look at Crooks and Archibald. You look at Berbatov and Keane. We also had Defoe and Pavlyuchenko at times. We had with strike forces. I've seen Sheringham and Klinsmann. We've seen Son and Kane, and now we're all the way at our strike force or our forward line. The possibility of Werner or Son, which Son obviously, and the good news about his contract, if that is to be the case. And then you look at Richarlison, Johnson and Kulusevski. I'm sorry, I look back at the past. We were known for our attacking football. We were known for having these flair players that could do things. This strike force doesn't... Please God, when my nephews grow up and my niece and I get to talk the glory days of Tottenham with them, I'm not going to say, do you know what? My dad saw that. I saw this. You are going to get to see Werner and Johnson. And like I said, I'm a fan of Johnson. They do not scream to me potent Tottenham attack that's going to guarantee goals. And I don't think anyone can say that. Look at Kulusevski's goal return since he's been here, apart from that first season. Johnson, like I said, I have every faith in the world that will come good. I really do, and I'm clinging on to that, and maybe he will get to a much higher level. Richarlison had that patch where he was scoring non-stop, injuries. And then you look at the left wing, and at the moment it's Werner, Son, who will obviously be the starter. And we do have Solomon, but I can't see Solomon staying at the club. Especially with the players coming in or the players that we have there. It doesn't scream goals to me. It just does not. Can you two say, do you know what? I feel fully like you said, Ben, players may come in. But right now, does that what we've got right now fill you with confidence that there's goals coming from Spurs attack?
I'm just laughing. It's like the fan base is in meltdown. Wait till they find out when Richie's going to stay. I mean, can you imagine the meltdown?
We've already found out, mate.
I know. Well, say nothing. I listen. Look, I understand the meltdown. I do. But let's be serious, right? The transfer window doesn't open officially to the 14th of June. There's a lot of business, to be done between now and the next week because FFP and PSR, all of those that need to get rid of players, that would be Chelsea, Forest, Everton, Newcastle, and a couple of others. They have to get their business done by the 30th. The Euros, they kick off going to Euro camp next week, and no business is going to be done a week before the Euro starts. So Gareth Southgate and some of the other punters. Look, if this was the main business and this was the only business we're going to get attacked, I understand the meltdown and I'll be joining them. Okay, but at this present moment, I don't have an issue because when I'm looking at his minutes that he's played and his goal contributions per minute, is he a good goal scorer? Absolutely not, right? Does he need to improve his goal scoring? Absolutely. Does he have experience, though? Yes. Does he have pace? Yes. Can he cross the ball? Yes. He has attributes. He has good attributes, but he has negatives as well. I'm not going to sit here and defend those negatives. But to blindly say he has nothing positive to add to the squad as a squad. I'm not talking about the first team. I don't see him as a first team player. I see him as a rotational player in a squad-based game. This season we had 41 games, the least amount for 19 years. And I just think that, there will come a time where we're happy to have Timo Werner as a squad member that can come in when we have injuries, when we have players missing, and when we're playing 55 games in the season. In isolation, I understand why there's negativity and uproar for his signature.
Yeah. Johnny, I was having a conversation with Sim before about Mikey Moore. Do you feel like this is a season where Mikey Moore can break in, and will Timo block that pathway? Will he enhance that pathway? What's your opinions on that?
Listen, I love Mikey Moore. I don't say it very often, but he's generational. He really is generational. I see a likeness between Wayne Rooney and a bit of Gascoigne, the barrel chest, and like Wayne Rooney, upper body strength, the way he came through at Everton at 16. I see a bit of that in him. And he had something very, very special. I personally think that he needs another 6 months in the under-21s, appearance on the bench, in Europa, maybe getting minutes. And I can imagine to start to see him what's his name, Miley at Newcastle, and maybe Mainu. I mean, let's be serious, right? He's not even 17 yet. He's still 16 years of age. I think physically he can cut the mustard. He's got the pace. And the way he moves his body, he can swing his body left and right with movement of the ball. I think he's an incredible player, but I don't think he's blocking the way. We focus too much at this football club on first team. We get smashed to bits. We're always this club does not know how to look after its players. We've constantly got a pile of injuries, and I'm just looking at the fact that Timo is just another one to add to the number. And we talk about the wage. It's a big wage, 165 grand. But we've got rid of Lloris. We've got rid of Eric Dyer. We've got rid of
Perisic. Kane.
Right, we got rid of some huge wages. So I'm not saying it's ideal, but I think when you're looking at this, I'm thinking and listening to the fact that by doing it this way, it enables us to have more money to actually purchase the players that we really need in set positions. I can see Brian on screen nodding. nodding away, and he's like chomping. He's chomping.
John, let me ask you this, John. In January we were linked with a young winger, Antonio Nusa, 18 years of age. I know he failed a medical and we didn't quite get that deal done. But, he was going to cost around 30 million. I don't think we were looking at him to be our starting winger potentially. But
No.
Going into next season, and should we be looking at that kind of deal? Someone who's a promising youngster who can maybe in the future push the likes of Sonny and take over from them and provide competition as someone who has a potentially really high ceiling, than signing someone who we know where their ceiling is?
I've said there's two plans going on, simultaneous plans going on at the club. I've been going on about it for 2 years. One of them you can't really see. And we're only starting to see the fruition of that, is what Fabio has done with Burnett and others at the club. Is, bring along and acquire the top 16 to 19-year-olds that they can find on their doorstep and in Europe. Okay, we've missed so many top players on our doorstep over the years that have gone to Arsenal. We're bringing those players through, and we're also looking to bring in top 16 to 19-year-olds. Lancashire. Funny enough, it's a Spurs fan. He was at Arsenal release Sheffield United the whole way. Paid $2 million to bring him back. There are players. There are lots of players. So we are looking to acquire those.
Sorry, 1 minute, Johnny. You're breaking up quite badly. Are you connected to a microphone?
No, I'm not. Is that better?
Yes, but now I can hear something else. It's a bit better. Carry on, Johnny.
Okay,
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, sorry. So I think that there's two things that are going on here. We're acquiring the top 16 to 19-year-olds, and at the same time, we're looking to bring in first team players. We need a conveyor belt. This club should not be looking at having one or two players coming through every 10 years. That's no good to this club. But at the same time, you have to be buying top players and spending 60, 70 million pounds on these top players. And I think if you're filling these gaps over the next 2 years with these top young players that are coming in, that would mean we would only need 2 or 3 players to fill the void. Then I think then we can start spending the money. I think they will continue to find top talent, more of the Destinies and the Papasars and the Bergvales, which are being signed for nominal fees in comparison to, look at Braithwaite, for example. They want £70 million for a guy who's had one season. The fees being quoted are ridiculous. So our best bet is to let Fabio do his business with land and bring in the top talent throughout Europe, which is going to turn into the £70 million players. But let's not kid ourselves. We all want marquee signings. We all want the Eze's and the Nico Williams and all the other signings that we dream of. And for this fan base to be happy and go forward into the season happy and positive, we need to see a couple of those, along with these value purchases.
We signed Timo Werner on loan, and we're all having a meltdown.
Yeah, well, I thought you said Timo Werner's going to get 20 goals next season. You were quite happy with the
If
signing.
he goes and gets 20 goals next season, what are we going to do then? I mean, look, I get it. Is it underwhelming? Yes. Does it stink of everything that's happened before? Yes. But guys, come on, the transfer window's not even open. I mean, it opens in 3 days, 2 days. And I think, like you said, Ben, yesterday, I'll take a Werner if we get an Eze. So look, I think all the things that are going on at the moment with all the other clubs, you've got, and I know people say, well, it's not about all the other clubs, but Manchester City and Arsenal are going to have the same manager. We don't know what's going to happen with United. Obviously, Ange is there, and I think that this season is going to be around stability, right? And it's about stability from the managers. We don't know what Liverpool are going to do with Arne Slot. We don't know what Chelsea are going to do. They'll probably have a new manager before the season starts anyway. So that'll be another situation. Villa, okay, they've got Emery, but we saw what happened last season with Europe. Is that unless they strengthen, are they gonna? Do they have a deep enough squad? I don't know. Obviously, look, we need to bring some of the under 21 players in, and obviously maybe some other ones, the younger ones, Mikey Moores and everything else. But I think, look, let's see where we are at the end of the window, not even before it's even begun, because I think we as a fan base have just done the typical thing that we always do, and it's either one end of the spectrum or the other. There's no, okay.
Bipolar FC.
Look, mate. If there was a trophy for the most, overreactionary fan base, we'd be winning it every season. And Sim was right yesterday. We should just go and support the under 21s. We'd be in a much better situation. We're winning trophies. We're winning games. I just think, look, I understand it. I understand it for the people that have been, for a long time. They've seen mediocrity. They've seen everything that and they're entitled to an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I just think it's a bit too soon. If it's Werner and no one, and then that's the situation, then maybe we can start losing our minds a little bit. But look, there's gonna be another signing. Like I said yesterday, Conor Gallagher will be one of the next signings, and that's going to cause a massive meltdown as well.
When I heard that extended the loan, at first I thought good, because he's actually a pretty good footballer. And last season for us, people were acting like he was horrible in the chat, but he wasn't horrible. He was pretty good, making those runs in, doing those late crosses, leading to goals, starting up the attack. Sure, he didn't have the goal contributions, but it's not always about getting a goal and assist. It's about building the attack every so often.
So, do you think if we want to kick on next season, Timo Werner can help us do that, or has he got a limited ceiling, which we've already seen?
I think he's got a limited ceiling, and I think if Timo Werner is the only player we are signing, only attacking player that we're signing this window, then you have to really open your eyes to the hierarchy. Because Timo Werner is a good footballer, but he's not Champions League football good. At least he's not anymore. That went out the window second he joined Chelsea. So you really got to ask yourself, are you going to buy him permanently next season? And hopefully move on with him? Because we've only extended his life. We haven't purchased him, which means if things go wrong, we're not stuck with our hands tied behind our back saying, well, we have to play him. We can go, right, you can go back to Leipzig.
But we kind of know what we're going to get with Timo. We saw it, which you're saying is a good footballer. I think, he did have his moments, but when you're looking to kick on to the next level, I don't believe he's the answer. So does it represent not going forward? Does it represent just a bit of stagnation, potentially even going backwards when we're looking to really kick on next season?
I wouldn't say going backwards, because going backwards would be playing Gill or Solomon instead of Werner. I actually would say going forwards, because when those few games where we had Werner, he actually did something for the team, like Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest. He really helped the team, and I think next season he's either going to be playing in that same role or being a backup player, like a super sub. So when he's needed, he can come on in short-term notice and just get crosses in, score. So I do think it's doing something now, but I don't think it'll be a future plan.